So, ¿cómo te llamas, amigo?
Me llamo...
No te calvo, empezar otra vez.
Francisco Moreno Jr., porque soy hijo de mi papá. Calle 333. No sé qué.
Francisco
soy
Moreno.
hijo de mi papá.
Francisco Moreno Jr.
Y vengo de Texas.
¿Cuántos años tienes?
38.
38.
38 años.
¿Siempre has vivido en Texas?
Bueno.
Ok. ¿Cuál es tu instrumento favorito?
Instrumento favorito. Bueno, yo digo que sí, la voz, ¿verdad? La voz.
Ok, la voz.
Porque siempre, bueno, es un instrumento que no tienes que comprar y siempre
Siempre está contigo.
Está contigo, ¿verdad? Y lo
sí,
puedes
yo
llevar.
lo uso todo el tiempo. Y a veces me estresa ser solo mi voz y yo.
De hecho, es el primer instrumento que enseño a mis alumnos en kinder. Es como cantar.
Ajá.
Voz alto, voz bajo. Cantamos muchas canciones.
Wow.
Y también usamos chant para sacar ritmos de canciones.
¿Cuántos años llevas de maestro de música?
11 años.
Wow.
Yeah.
¿Y si has estado en contacto con niños que digas es un prodigio o wow, como tiene un talento
una vez sí
impresionante?
me tocó un alumno de tercer grado ahí cuando enseñé en Austin. Una niña que le enseñé un parte, bueno, estuvimos tocando recorder, que es flauta dulce, yo creo.
Okay.
No sé en español.
Sí, flauta dulce.
Sí, y tocamos algo y bueno, a ver si lo puedes tocar. Se llamaba Yadira. Y tocó como si nada, como primera vez escuchando la música, lo tocó sin ver notas. Wow.
Wow.
Eso fue increíble, sí.
Okay.
Pero también vi unos alumnos que tocaban como ahí en el americano, American School Foundation. Ahí vi unos alumnos que tocaban piano muy bien. Y tenían como 9, 10 años. Y tocaban como...
Tenían clases privadas.
Clases privadas, sí.
Claro.
Yeah. But yeah, sí.
Ok, bueno, sigamos hablando de tu postura sobre la sociedad en la actualidad y si el arte es necesario, hasta qué punto y... ¿Qué me estabas diciendo? You can switch to English.
Okay. Thank you. A lot of brain power for me to change words from English to Spanish, but I will get better.
Brain powder, ¿qué es eso?
Brain power.
Brain power. It takes
a lot of brain power
to change.
For me to switch languages.
Really?
A little bit, not so much, but like if we're having like a really detailed conversation and I get stuck on a word, I'll like, oh, what is that word? And I don't want to use my phone to use it, so.
Yeah. It's not the
I
same.
need to be more, I guess, literate when it comes to knowing words that are detailed, like, reading ones. Anyways, so, why is art important in society nowadays? I feel that, because we were talking about like how you felt generally about art and how like sometimes you feel like you have all this time and all these resources and all of this pretty much this privilege. You said you called it a privilege to do art, and I think like going back a long time ago, like people would have that privilege, like the people that were wealthy or people that had money or time to do it, they would paint. But where I'm going with this is whether you're wealthy or whether you have all that other stuff, you still develop time to develop skills and talent because you want to document it in some sort of way. And if anything, I find that art documents events or documents a feeling and documents things way better than maybe like what we're used to, like social media or all these other things. And we could touch in on social media nowadays, but I feel like I don't know, in the future, who knows, maybe with AI and everything else that's happening, like how art is going to be such this special pastime that very few people are tapping into it anymore, you know? Because with AI, you could just I've used Illustrator and all these other like programs, and you just say, oh, an AI prompt. All right, just click on that, and an AI generated image will just come up, and I could just like use that to kind of design something else with that. But how much of that was originally taken or built up by you? And so I feel like, you know, a human element, the things that make us human, are tied to art, and a human element needs to be in it, and that's why it's important.
See, I think the human element, I think it's, even in AI, the human element, it's still there somehow, because it was created by men, like all these technologies, and in the end, they learn, they don't really learn, but they use the term learn, like machine learning or teaching a model. They learn from things created by humans, created by some algorithms or some models, artificial intelligence models.
I think art, like also, what I was wanting to kind of like mention is that some of the arts that you see at museums were a lot of those paintings, especially the fine arts paintings, were commissioned, right? So that they could document some sort of thing that happened historically. And so I don't know what would be something that, because I don't see people doing that nowadays unless you do, where it's like, oh,
yeah, it's hard,
you know, like the protests of George Floyd, Black Lives Matter. It's like, is there an artist that like painted all that stuff? And if there is, I mean, I haven't seen it yet. Maybe it's in some sort of museum. But you know what I mean? Like the Battle of Puebla, right? In Mexico City, you could see like a painting about that, like and someone, you know, painted something like that. You know, so I don't know. I just find that like sometimes art documents a certain time or a certain event, so that we can think about it and
I think
reflect on it.
It should be a way to provide some sort of, how do you say, sacralidad, like making something sacred, through the artistic technique, or just the artistic process. I think precisely because it's being created with all of this human energy and focus and attention and work and experience, with a completely sensitive state of mind and emotion. That's what provides like a very special connection to the divine, or just what's the difference between just some historical I don't know, document, like you say, like any sort of document. What's the difference with sculpture or another piece of art? I think it's, or well, that's not the point. The point is like what makes pieces of art so special. I think just the fact that that they're different from all the other human-made creations, in the sense that they are trying to reflect the most pure human intention. Like the artist has to like cleanse himself or herself, or it has to cleanse his mind. And I think when you paint or you sculpt or you draw or you make a song, make music, or any kind of artistic expression, you enter this state of very clean and pure emotion.
Mm-hmm.
Like for the moment that you are devoted to painting this, like you completely have to leave out all the other emotions that you constantly have, such as whatever, anger, envy, selfishness, any kind of I don't know, like sinful emotion or just human regular emotion. Like it that's why some people might say like, oh, like art is therapeutic, or it can help you battle mental issues, right? And I think it's because when you are doing something that it has no other purpose other than making a beautiful thing, it really te traslada, like how do you say te traslada?
Transcends? No.
It takes you, like it takes you to places of emotional peace. Yeah. And well, that's what I believe. And like that's what I feel when I see true pieces of art. And that's why sometimes we can all feel like some pieces of art are, let's say, fake, right? Or sometimes you feel pretentious art, pieces of art that are in galleries or anywhere, and you can feel like the purpose of these pieces, like it's not very clear. And you can see in the process that very clearly how like there's not much love put into it, or attention to detail or anything.
Is it kind of similar to where you hear like some of my favorite music is like soul music, because the singer, when they sing, like you could feel that emotion or that pain that are coming from the lyrics, right?
Exactly.
Is art similar in some sort of way? Like when you look at a painting, can you feel that?
Yeah, you can.
Emotion?
You
'Cause
can
I don't know anything about the technique.
You can totally sense the emotion. You should. Anyone should, not just people who studied the field or whatever. Like you can tell when a piece was just made so it could decorate a wall, or
decor,
or only to be sold for a certain amount of money, or it was only made because it was a commission and they had to portray a particular person in a particular way. They had to look I don't know, powerful or beautiful or attractive, etc. Like you can sense the purpose of the piece, to that it's a piece that enaltece, like it enaltece. It's a piece that like it has this certain energy to it. Like that it's pretentious, it's pretending something. When something is pretending something, it's pretending to be something, it's pretending to look powerful, it's pretending to look intellectual, it's pretending to be something. Like, why does it have to pretend to be anything? It just has to be something on its own, not to fit anywhere in particular. And for me, that's what makes me feel like I'm at peace with looking at something in a gallery or whatever. Like, makes you feel good that it's there for everyone to see. And some other things, maybe they're just like testimonies of people, of creators, and that's fine. And that's fine, yeah. But I think anyone can sense what was the purpose behind any kind of piece. I think people more than ever are starting to see that they have the ability to connect with pieces of art and that they don't need to have a degree or be a curator or be a collector or have any kind of um, how do you say,
like background, like
yeah,
educational background.
or any kind of certificate or algo que te
Yeah,
acredite, like
accreditation,
same.
or
Yeah, like anyone could relate or not to a piece, and that's completely valid, and that's powerful, because of course talented people should have more access to exposure, to funds, to scholarships, things like that. And it's really sad how very ambitious people take opportunities that they don't necessarily either need, either deserve. It's a difficult thing, and I think the less you complain, the better the outcome for you it will be, in a way. Because at the end, I think it everything like falls in its place in time.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. So, kind of like everything falls in its place. We're now in Monterrey, right? One of the biggest issues here, I think, is just the pollution, and the pollution for the sake of progress, right, is what I would call it. So could it be possible that as we speak, there's some artists like that are focusing on highlighting that message, or reflecting that to the world and saying, hey, look, like there's a lot of progress here? Because I think more than anything they're preparing for the Copa Mundial, the World Cup that's coming over here, and there's going to be a lot of
I hope it doesn't.
A lot of fucking people, and they're trying to speed up progress, and all this construction's going in. And I was talking to a bunch of people, and like the polvo, like the
dust.
The dust goes up into, and that's why there's a lot more nowadays. I think in the city, because they're just trying to speed up progress and getting things constructed.
Wow.
So seeing that from a lens, an artist can probably take that and reflect it back to everybody. But then would you say it would turn into something maybe political? And I think in the past, like, there have been issues with I guess some political leaders that get in the way of the message, or kind of limit an artist's true message. I don't think that would ever happen with an artist, but I think more than anything, I feel like if I went to a museum, say for example in Mexico City or in the US, and it came from like an artist from Monterrey that's trying to reflect issues of some sort of this issue in particular, like I would feel really moved by it, and that would communicate volumes, because it's just like something from where they're living it, and they're going through it, and I don't know.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? Like, do you think...
the pollution problem here, it's been around since forever. I think since a very long time, because come on, like Cemex, Ternium, like it's just a city that was built around industries that and the city grew up so much that now we are living next to it, and they're not investing in technologies to have some minimum decent standards for the emissions, and so I think it's a problem that it's been for many years, and it's very nice. I mean, it's very sad to see where we are right now. Activists saw this coming. I I was concerned about this like 10 years ago or something, because for me information, it makes me like, I'm very sensitive to information. So somewhere I read about the PM particles.
2.5, yeah. Yeah, I did too. Yeah.
The particles, and just reading about the effects on our lungs health, to me, and there were, and I mean 10 years ago there were already reports about the amount of PM particles that were around in the city. And I mean, to me that information was very clear, like, okay, the air is like very, very dangerous.
And no amount of trees is gonna suck that up.
Of course not.
And that's the illusion. I think that's the biggest thing that should be an art piece. It's like the illusion of the effort behind it. You know, like you can't plant a tree to get rid of this pollution. You have to do. There has to be some sort of.
It's a nice first step. Yeah. It's a nice
extremity.
It's an extremity. I've never planted a tree.
Yeah, and it's nice, like,
and
to think of that.
We should
have more trees.
We should plant more fucking trees. But I mean.
But it's not gonna solve the issue, I think, and that's the one thing that I think.
I think one of the best things from this conversation is why haven't I planted a tree yet?
Yeah.
Like, why have I? You just like to complain, but you're not doing anything. You're just making paintings about it. It's not working. And so.
In some sort of analogy, that painting could be a tree.
Oh, that's pretty.
Maybe.
Yeah, I've never painted trees. They're not that they're difficult, but it's not an easy thing to do. I mean, maybe I should start painting more trees. That's a great idea. I'm not planting, but I'm gonna start painting them, and it's gonna manifest.
And it manifests.
And it's gonna manifest a lot of trees. But well, I was telling you.
Yeah.
So the problem's been around, and I am, of course, sad to see how it has evolved, the problem and the critical point where we're at right now. But I'm also happy to see that people are noticing that the problem exists. I mean, I don't think people, I don't know when they think this problem started, or like it's just a thing of last year and that's it.
Do you remember when you were a little girl, like, ever like hearing of this, or like seeing?
Hearing of it? No, like, nothing. No, the only thing I heard when being really young was these Al Gore conferences.
Oh, the Inconvenient Truth. Is it the Inconvenient Truth?
I guess, yeah.
He talked about like the global warming and
I think that was the first time that I was presented with the like potential harms of human activity, right? Like the emissions and the global warming stuff. I was 16, 17, and that was the first time when you could, like, you had like a serious take on and the environmental issues in the world, like not before. Like I never thought it was as much of a deal as I know now that it is.
Yeah.
But not with air or anything. I think until I was, I mean, not it was not long after that. I must have been 18, 19 when I started reading about the PM, are they called that way? PM particles?
PM particles.
Yeah. When I was 18. I read about that for the first time, and I made a painting about, well, not about, it was a painting of lung with cancer.
Do you still have that painting?
No, I sold it.
Oh.
But I know the collector, and maybe
I would have probably bought that painting too.
Wow, it was a watercolor painting. It was really nice, and to me, the lung looked like a map, like all of the ramifications that the lung has. they looked just like any kind of map with
Mm-hmm.
roads and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing I thought when I saw the
Mm-hmm.
photograph of this lung with cancer was obviously like,
Mm-hmm.
what is a city in this world?
Mm-hmm.
It's cancer.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And,
No, yeah, yeah.
and the image
Mm-hmm.
of the lung was so reminiscent of of a city, because only cities
Mm-hmm.
have all these roads and
And
all
then,
these
yeah, pathways,
highways and stuff
highways, yeah.
and pathways. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
um and that was the first thing I thought about, and I just painted the lung just like that. It looked purple and blue, and how do you say, it was like como extraído, un órgano extraído, like an extracted organ, or
Mm-hmm.
like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
from
So it was an actual photo of
yeah,
an organ.
yeah, from like it was not a medical book, but
Oh, wow.
some
Okay.
science book.
Okay.
And
it was from lung cancer, from
yeah,
not necessarily from, I guess, breathing in all these PM stuff, right? Or was it from breathing in the PM stuff? Or was it
I get I don't remember, but it must have been from like smoking.
smoking? Okay.
But yeah, in the end it all comes to
Together.
the same
Yeah.
issue.
It would be really interesting to look at the data and see like how many people actually have lung cancer due to like the PM particles, or like how many people are going to have cancer in the future. Because it's like one of those things to where it's like,
I'm starting to get worried, I swear.
Like you're like breathing it in, and it's like it could be like diabetes, where it's like a silent killer, you know, like, or
Of course.
like you don't know you have it.
I have a
until
cousin
later.
with lung cancer right now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. It
Mhm.
started in the colon,
Oh.
and then it spread to the it's not the kidney, it's hígado,
Liver.
the liver, and then the lungs.
Oh, I'm sorry. How old is she or he?
She's 36.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but she's fighting like a bitch.
Alright.
Yeah, and she's
What's her name?
she's doing good. Her name is Julie.
Julie.
Yeah.
Hey, Julie.
Yeah, but she's receiving the best treatments, and she's very positive about it. She's
You got this,
she's
Julie.
the best.
If you're hearing later,
Yay!
you got this, Julie.
I
Vamos,
know.
Julie. You could do it.
Yeah, she's actually receiving chemo right now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's
Like
crazy.
today.
Like today, like right
Yeah,
now.
every 2 weeks. Yeah, every 2 weeks,
Wow.
she
Okay.
receives chemo, and she's getting it today. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I know.
She's gonna do well.
So it is.
Yeah, it's an issue.
And
And
it's
even
happening.
it's a personal issue. Like
Exactly,
it's
it's
like
happening.
someone in your life that you know that's going through that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just like one of those things.
But in the end, it puts you closer to that life and death
Mhm. Yeah.
thing, or how do you call
mortality.
it? Yeah.
Like mortality, that we're all gonna leave this this earth eventually. But going back,
it's crazy. Like
Like-
living in this world, in this city and society. Like
Yeah.
I think we are all like, I don't know, it's strange. Like people is just like accepting our fate.
Mhm.
Like, well, it is how it is. Like, I don't know. Like people are becoming very like suicidal in that way.
Uh-huh.
Like not
Mhm.
exactly suicidal, but like, oh, but there's like, what can we do?
Mhm.
Like, okay, we'll die. Well, we'll peacefully and happily die. Like,
Mhm.
like it's somehow making us, I don't know, insensitive
Mhm. Yeah,
to things. The
Mhm.
fact that we know that we're all gonna die, so why should we fight about it?
Mhm.
Why should we fight about all these companies
Mhm.
killing us?
Mhm.
Like, if we're dying anyway, so why should we fight? Like, I need to still make money so I can go on vacations and live the rest of my polluted life.
Mhm.
Like,
It's like very surface level, like superficial in a way, to where it's like, as long as I'm getting my material
Yeah.
needs and
I think it's a suicide effect that it's coming.
like defeatist. They're like, everyone's defeatist now. They're like, oh well, no, I can't change anything. I'm gonna die anyways. Like, I'll just
Uh-huh.
continue living and not worry about it.
Yeah, and it's kind of suicidal. in a way. That we're gonna have
so
to.
What would you say
bleep that out.
would be the kind of like a way to inspire someone to get out of that? What would you say someone would need to do that?
Wow.
Because it's like you've lived away for such a long time that you're like, well, I'm stuck here. I don't care. Like,
I think people is so scared
of
to
change, maybe, or
lose any kind of comfort and privilege.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, and it's hard to move to a...
You're a Cancer, right?
Sí.
Okay, my mom's a Cancer too.
And you?
But the reason why I say this is because...
You're Aquarius?
No, I'm Taurus.
Taurus.
But the reason why I say this is because, like, I try to tell my mom, like, okay, look, like, if you're... Because she's having issues with, like, some doctors over there in the valley.
Oh, she should come here.
And I'm like, okay, so...
She should come here.
Yeah,
doctors are better here.
Yeah, I know, I want to
Yes.
But she's, like, all about, no, but I've been using this doctor for such a long time. This, yada, I don't want change. And it's like, you get comfortable with something for such a long time that you fear the unknown of, like, oh, if I change, it's going to end up being worse.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I don't dig too much into horoscopes, but I think every Cancer that I've met,
Mm-hmm.
they find, like, a comfort zone, and they kind of stay there for a while.
Yeah,
and
it's
just
sickening.
Like, and it's just like, and I gave this analogy to her, as like, or an example. I said, well, like, if I was put in a bad school, wouldn't you want to move me from that school? Because you would care about my well-being, you know. So it's like, it's kind of like similar to that. It's like, if you find something that, like, say for example, this,
and that's the whole problem.
Yeah, circling back to, like, the pollution thing. Like, if you know this area is polluted and you're potentially going to get sick here,
like,
why are you still living
stay?
here? Why would you stay?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're caring about your health, you know?
Of course. I know.
But it's hard because you, like, this is where you tie, like, all your ties are to this place.
You don't want to give up your all those little things that make you
Who you are.
happy in the most minimum way. Like, how do you say that?
Yeah. Could you give an example?
Like
that...
we...
Oh, for you personally. Like, you
yeah,
personally.
like, yeah.
Like, if I were to ask you, like, if you know, like...
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you know that this place isn't the healthiest for you, like, why would you stay? Or, like, what... But
because
you're saying
I'm so committed to my own... I'm so stubborn. I'm so committed to my own self-established processes. So I tell myself, I'm going to finish these paintings, and I'm just gonna finish them, and I'm going to finish them here. I don't want to move all my paintings to a whole new place and continue and blah blah blah. Like, I need money to make that happen and make it work, and I tell myself, no, you just follow the steps. And I mean, that's my own position right now, in where I'm in right now. But yeah, us Cancers, or people, it looks like most people is living that way here in the city. Like, we are stuck in here, like, stubborn, staying here.
I think it's also, like, if I could touch on something, it's just like family is really important in a way too, right? Like,
it is.
There's, like, the family ties.
It
Our bond is bigger. I've noticed it's stronger in Mexico than it is in the U.S. You know? Or in Canada with, like, your sister, right? Like, in a way.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, Mexico, it's like the ties are stronger. The bonds are stronger. But
yeah, they are. But,
like,
I mean...
Because someone jokingly said to me one time, you marry a Raquel, you're going to stay in Monterrey.
and that's kind of sad.
And, you know, it's kind of true in a way, because, you know, and out of respect.
Yeah, it's kind of sad. I mean, not sad, pero...
But, you know, like...
Yeah, I think we create our own obstacles.
Yeah.
I think in my own mind, like, I know there is a way out of here, for example, but I have to give up a lot of things.
Yeah.
For that to happen. and it takes that courage to give up those little things, and you just end up in this procrastination path. And
yeah, I know that very well.
And it's like, okay, I'm just going to wait until this is finished, and until, I don't know, I finish that other project, and then that other project that I have, and then that other podcast project that I have, and that other YouTube project that I have, and that other, I want to learn how to code,
And
so I'm gonna learn how to code, and then we'll see what like.
Yeah, it's always another project, another thing.
Yeah, projects never end. And not only projects, but like some stupid things in our minds that we think that we need, and it's just the material weight or the weight of the material objects in my case.
But they're important to you, and like you said, like until they're finished, like maybe really...
That's my case right now. I've been in this position for 8 years since 2007. I mean, for my whole life I've been in this point, but particularly this last exhibition I'm working on, I've been working on it. Some pieces 8 years, other pieces 3 years, other pieces, I don't know, things like that. So I'm exhausted.
No, yeah. Well, you have
it's just, I don't know. I think we don't like to like verbalize, or how do we don't like to put it into words, the fact that we are so pessimistic, or that we feel so defeated, the fact that we're so like, oh well, whatever, yeah, fuck it, like, what can we do, blah blah. How do you describe that? Antipático. You have this antipático.
Antipático. It's like
when you're like that, you're like, whatever.
Like,
how do you say?
Apathetic.
Apathetic. Yeah, apathetic.
Apathetic. Yeah.
Okay, so we don't like to accept that we are in that apathetic state.
But
I feel like
culturally though, like. I don't know, I'm just gonna say, like, maybe people are like...
I'm thinking about something, I'm having this big realization.
Okay, go for it.
Like, we just share these memes and these posts and these reels, and we just share these TikToks, and we share these videos and images about how we are very much fed up with the abuse in everywhere in the world, not just here in our cities, but everywhere. And we don't like it. Is like a way of resistance. Like, we are resisting the reality that we're living in. Like, hey, like, you are apathetic.
But we treat it as a joke. Like, we play it off as a joke.
No, we are actively like protesting in social media. Like, Israel, free Palestine, and Gaza, and like all these terrible tragedies. Like, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. It's just a way for us to ignore our apathetic, real state of living. We are not accepting, like, how difficult it is for us to accept that we are cynical, that we are apathetic, that we are selfish. And that's fine. I mean, we have to be selfish. I think in a way to survive, you have to be selfish of your energy. We have been hearing about it and learning about it, and I truly believe that's the way to live in this society right now. You have to be selfish as much as you can. And also generous, but learn how and when to be generous. But above anything else, to be protective of your mental health. And
because if you care for too much, like it could destroy you.
Yes, because because
like
it becomes you against everyone, or you against the world, or you against the system, and that's not how it works because we are all one entity. We are all one human race. We are all one human like moment in time. And that's the way to see it. Like there are no enemies. There should be no enemies. We should all be treated as one, right? Like treat others like you would like to be treated, and be generous, and don't take away from people the way you wouldn't like to happen to you. But I think it's really interesting that little thing I thought about how difficult it is for us to accept that we are selfish and privileged and not doing anything about the el sufrimiento ajeno, the like human suffering. Like we are not doing anything about it. We are still or people is still going to their jobs, making the wheel go round for these big corporations. So stop complaining. You are part of the problem. So why don't you just accept that you're part of a problem? Like maybe it would be easier for everyone if we all accepted that we are being selfish and we all are okay with the idea of dying due to pollution. Like everyone is, it's a fake. Everything is so fake. Like why not trying to be real for a moment?
Yeah.
Like we are suicidal.
if we talk real, like we're talking like human beings too. We're not talking like we're talking in code or talking passive aggressively. It's like a real conversation is like this, like you know, real words, real feeling, real emotion,
reality,
like real talk. Like don't be talking about like some fucking bullshit. And I think that's just the first step, right? Like having real conversations with people.
Yeah.
That
everyone sugarcoats everything.
Yeah.
Everyone sugarcoats their own lives. Like they don't want to be seen vulnerable or weak or poor or not pretty or not whatever. So you sugarcoat with this facade. You come up as something.
So we have emojis and like to make sure that we communicate the emotion in a text. But
what?
we're like the emojis that are used in text, so that like text is not misperceived. Like that's why they made the emojis. So
yes,
that
of course.
You can, like, communicate. But also like the short, like image text. You know, like like beers. Okay, question mark. You know what I mean?
Of course.
Like just get straight to the point. Where I'm going with this is like, you know, putting it. I don't know. It just feels like society shifted in a way, and when I was first discovering the internet back in high school, like it was 2000, 2001. I was on the Hotmail and the Yahoo and the AOL and
pretty late high school.
Yeah, I know.
I was still in elementary when I'm younger than you anyway. I'm very much younger, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah, anyway. But anyways, where we're going with this? How much? You know, like
I'm 34.
Oh, it's just like
4 years younger.
Yeah, I thought you were like 32 or 30. 31. Anyways, you can edit that out.
That's fine.
But I guess where I was going is communication was a lot different then, where it's like you would use different words or different messages to communicate like a message, and then going back and forth, like it evolves to now like a cell phone where we're now using messaging as our main kind of like source of communication. And then not even that, but you get into like Facebook, and then like people are just kind of sharing all this stuff. And I guess where I'm going with this is like how communication has evolved since the beginning of the internet, or maybe even before that, to now, and how I feel like a lot of people can say a whole lot, especially like maybe even in podcasts or like things like that. They can say a whole lot and not say a whole lot. You know what I mean? Like you could talk
of course,
a lot about a certain topic, But really, have you really kind of communicated with the person that you're interviewing or you're talking to, or even the public? You know, politicians do this all the time, especially in the United States, where they're asked a really simple question, a yes or no question, and then they dance around it, and they just go back and circle around, and they avert the question or divert the question. And I think a lot of times maybe we're
how we are living our lives.
Maybe we are even doing that because we have some sort of like insecurity.
That's what we do.
Or maybe like I'm afraid of how you might perceive me. You might think I'm like a pussy, or like you might think I'm not man enough.
Oh my god.
So it's like
we're so afraid of being of telling our truth.
These insecurities kind of take over. It's like
yes.
And on your side, it's maybe like, maybe I can't tell him this because he might think of me in a certain way, and then it goes the same direction.
Wow.
But getting back to art, I think maybe the communication is not supposed to do that. Like, it should be a direct message from the moment you look at it. Like, that message is clear, like, because you know what that intention was. And a lot of times I think when you don't see the soul in the art piece, it's because it's just dancing around and trying to be something that it's and answering something that it's not. Mm-hmm. And so I think that the true
the same way music and everything.
Yeah, the true job of an artist, or the true task of an artist, is to kind of see how you're going to communicate the intention of that message as clear as possible. So the moment the person hears it and the moment the person sees it, they're like, wow, I knew what that person was thinking or feeling.
I think beauty has that power. Mm-hmm. Like that thing you're saying about making it as clear as possible. Mm-hmm. I think in the quest of beauty, because beauty can come in many different ways. It can be a standard beauty, it can be a rare beauty, it can be an ugly beauty, it can be a horrific beauty, it can be a mysterious beauty, etc. All kinds of different types of beauties, just like all different types of harmonies or chords in the musical instrument or whatever, or compositions in a canvas or whatever, like and themes and topics but they're all beautiful. They all have this mystique. They all have this like fifth element, this je ne sais quoi, like you cannot explain what makes something beautiful and what not. It's in the human eye. It's like for me, I can quickly perceive when something is beautiful and when something is not. It's kind of like like in music there's like dissonance, right? I think that dissonance can happen in many different media. And just that you can see that beauty in stuff, in handwriting, in a piece of whatever, electronic music, in a book, in a story, in a novel, in a movie. Like when you can feel that beauty, that sensitive magic to it, I think it's almost like magic, like because you can't have a formula for it. It's just an infinite number of possibilities to achieve a certain final result that can come off as beautiful.
But it's mainly felt, right? Like you said,
yes,
like you have to feel it.
Yes. It's in the human eye. Or ear.
Human eye.
In the human brain.
I agree with you, because there's certain music that I hear that that yeah, you just at the moment you hear it, you just feel.
And the sounds are
You feel
almost
it. Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
textures or
Mm-hmm.
colors
Mm-hmm.
or shades
Mm-hmm.
or amounts of light.
Mm-hmm.
How dark, how bright a sound is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yes.
That's amazing. Like, I needed to hear that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And what's beautiful about this conversation is that in a way you telling me this, you're also reflecting on it yourself and what it means to you.
Of course.
And you're advocating for the way you view that.
That's how I experience the artistic creative process.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because you're constantly searching for
Validation or like
no those results.
Okay.
Like when you're working on your art, like you are looking for that beauty.
Mm-hmm.
And you're working on it and it's not beautiful yet, and it does not have that magic yet, it does not make you feel that yet, but you know there's still potential for that to become a decent piece of art, and you are looking for that, and that's why it can be very frustrating because there's no formula to it. It's just something that happens in a stroke, like, oh, this is the precise tone of green or shade of green that I needed for this to acquire this magic.
Mm-hmm.
And I would never thought of that. It's just something that happened, maybe as a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you're constantly looking for that magic.
Can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
When was the first time you felt that? Like when you're like, was it when you were a kid? Can you give an exact moment? Or
when I felt...
You could rewind, and the first moment you felt like, oh wow, that's beautiful. I like the way that looks. I guess maybe it was like when you were a kid in your first art class or like elementary. I don't know. Can you trace back to the first moment you kind of you felt that like that's beautiful? Or?
I think I always, not always, like I have that feeling with my earliest drawings, because I first started drawing.
Okay.
And I felt that, but I think as a little kid, this feeling was very, very naive, very non-aware of the situation. It was like just this joy of, I could do it. Like I wanted to draw this character from this cartoon, and it looks exactly like the original. Like, wow, I made it. That was the first kind of moments of joy through just drawing. And I think that feeling, it's constantly happening. And it happens like every time that you draw. Like that's why you draw, because you want to feel that, and over time that emotion evolves and intensifies. And probably when I was given my first professional set of graphite and artistic material, that I made drawings, being more conscious, being more aware of, I'm making art. And I was 12. Like when I was 12 years old, I was gifted my first set of artistic materials.
Okay.
And before that, I would draw with just regular pencils or whatever. Okay. And then when I received these very special tools from an aunt, all these materials were hers.
Oh, okay.
And they were used, right? And then she gave them to me, but they were like very almost new.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, special because she used them also.
Yeah, she used them, and then she stopped drawing, and she was like, "Oh, you like to draw? I'll give you all my stuff," and that was of something very special because I think I was very little, and if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have been in contact with this kind of materials.
Yeah.
And
kind of would have faded away, right? Also, like your interest in art, or you have still drawn?
No, I would still.
You would still.
Yeah,
okay. But she helped push you along to get a little bit further.
I think I did. I didn't even know these kinds of professional things existed.
Oh wow.
Probably, I don't know.
Did she give you like charcoal or what would she give you?
Yeah, graphite, charcoal, watercolors, oil paints as well. That's why I started painting oil at 12, because she gave me all her oils and brushes. Yes.
And all of that is not cheap, I imagine, right? It's kind of expensive to buy.
It is kind of, yeah. Okay. I mean, I was 12.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I was not going to have them at that time.
Yeah.
And
that's amazing.
And that was the first time, because of that I had the responsibility to make art. Okay. So it was not, I mean, I already felt like I was starting to make art, and I was already feeling kind of artistic in my pursuits. But after receiving those materials, I felt like it was a different feeling. Like, wow, I have this professional paper and this professional paints and this professional pencils. Like, I have to make something special. And yeah, I think that catapulto.
Catalyst?
Yeah,
Catalyst, yes.
Sort of. I mean, it's not the same, but catalizador is different.
Like a catapult?
Yeah.
A catapult, yeah. But it's a catalyst, right? Like
it is. It has the same root, right?
Okay.
Anyway,
push you forward.
Yeah. Yeah, it was cool. That. But that feeling, it's always been there. So it's difficult to say when was the first time. Yeah. But I mean, I've been painting so many things. I've been drawing so many things for all my life that it's hard to say what was the first like piece of art that I felt like it was a piece of art. Like I do have some special pieces. It's a whole archive like of stuff.
I like your use
I
of
have
color, though.
I have my own little museum of stuff because I keep all the pieces that the old pieces are I mean, I've sold a lot of pieces and they're no longer with me, but I keep all the rest. And
do you ever feel like, well, like the piece, once it's gone, it's like, okay, well, it's to the universe now, like I'm never gonna see that anymore, or I can't see it if I want to?
It kind of hurts when
some people get like prints of their work, right, just so they can keep like some sort of image of it. But yeah, I don't know if that's...
I have I always kept images,
like pictures or...
Yes, I do have images, but there's so many of them that I don't know, you get also overwhelmed by your personal archive of stuff. Like you really get overwhelmed, and I look back right like now, and I think like wow, like en qué momento, like in what moment this happened, like that I have so many work. Yes.
Amazing.
Sort of.
In the hundreds.
Eh?
Hundreds or thousands? Would you say?
Hundreds.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Hundreds.
Yeah, I'm not that prolific because my pieces take time.
Yeah. But it's like your legacy, right? When you're going back to like the whole idea of, or do you like?
It's a burden. It's a burden to feel like who's going to, ¿quién lo va a preservar? Who's going to preserve like this? Who's gonna pay for my website when I die? Like things like that. Like my website is going to disappear, or like I have to fund some institution that will. But if whatever, it's the same. Like we're all suicide. we all feel, I don't know, it's weird, but it's fine at the same time if you practice spirituality and you are if you are, how do you say, if you are, ¿cómo se dice? Si estás en paz con algo,
you're in peace with yourself, like
there's another expression, but yes, if you're at peace with with your
mortality, or
yeah,
like
and your
impermanence, like you're not gonna be here forever.
and your reincarnations,
Mm-hmm.
your future reincarnations, you feel
Oh, that's another topic.
relieved.
Past lives. Do you think you had a past life?
I I must have. I mean, in theory.
Because prodigies, I don't know. In theory, like prodigies, maybe like okay, that person was someone else in their past. That's why they just get on the piano or they
that happens.
You know what I mean?
Like that's written in your DNA.
Mm-hmm.
It's
So maybe,
and is DNA that level of divine, such as preserving past lives through DNA? I don't know. Or is your spirit 100% intangible? Because DNA, you can analyze it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a good question.
Or like the people you meet, are they people that you've met in your past life also?
For sure, maybe. That's a nice metaphor, or yeah, that's a nice metaphor. Back. Yeah, for because some people you just don't want to be close to that people, and some people you feel so attached to them. And yeah, whatever the reason that happens, it's whatever. Past lives or not. Yeah.
People, connections, right?
Yeah. Would you ever do hypnosis?
What's the process of that? Like you go under hypnosis, right?
Yes, and then they make you talk about your past lives.
Oh, I've never heard of it.
You've never heard of it?
Never heard. Yeah, sure, why not?
You would?
If I don't get stuck.
No, you sure wouldn't. You would come back to the alpha state.
I think that's the biggest thing is like, if something like that actually truly happens, it's like, am I gonna come back? Or you come back the same person.
What do you mean the same person?
Like, you connect to your former self, right? In like your past lives. Mm-hmm. So you're living and kind of like speaking in your past selves. Mm-hmm. Right? So what if you get stuck in one of those past selves? And you're no longer yourself anymore?
Well, you're supposed to be the same always.
Yeah. Like
your spirit is traveling through time in different bodies, but it's it's the same spirit. But you're supposed to be the same spirit, different names, different bodies, different families, or.
Okay. That's interesting. Oh.
Yes.
Different bodies.
Anyway, any final thoughts before we conclude this very first episode
volume 1.
Ooh, real talks. Real talks with I don't know what's the name of this podcast gonna be.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. Yeah. But I like the real talks thing you said.
Real talks. Yeah.
Real talks. That's because they are supposed to be real.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, of course.
Final thoughts.
That's it. It felt like something was gonna come right after that.
How can they find you on the internet? What's your Instagram account? No, nothing you want to.
No, I kind of
to share.
Kind of want to remain a mystery.
Cool.
I will just say this: I'm excited that I'm now creating more music with the band that I'm with. We're called Arms First, and I think we have an Instagram. Let me look it up. But yeah, we're writing a lot of new music. So if you want to follow us,
what's the genre?
It's post metal, doomgaze.
Oh my god!
So
wow, you have
definitely and there some very soon. We're gonna go record. We're actually we're kind of playing shows, selling merch, and then we're gonna go into a studio in Brownsville, Texas, and we're gonna record like a 3-song EP pretty soon. So really heavy, really raw.
You have a singer?
Yeah.
Oh.
The whole essence of it, I think you'd really like it, is that we're recording in live takes. So we're not doing like the studio kind of like, we'll record the bass first and the drums first. We're just gonna get in the room, everyone at the same time, to kind of record the the raw energy of a live
Wow.
performance, and then we're gonna put that on a disc. So
Yeah, I like that because
Yeah.
sometimes everything becomes so
like
artificial.
yeah. And we're just talking about how stuff needs to be less artificial, or have that.
Yeah, that
more the
beauty,
raw-
that
the
magic,
beauty.
that
Yeah.
je ne
And so
sais quoi.
I think there's gonna be beauty in that. So that's what we're gonna do.
Okay, so stay tuned for Arms First.
Woo.
Woo!
Okay. And I have a prize actually. I'm gonna give you on the way out.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Thank you for listening. Any final words for you?
What?
Final words for you?
Oh. Thank you for staying with us, and see you next time.
Catch you later.
Ooh.